everybody. I am Bill Marshall. Thank you again for coming to another great interview for our 2023 Business Connection Summit. Today we are talking with Wally, and we are going to be talking all about how to exit your company. So, without further ado, please, Wally, tell us who you are, what you do, and a brief little intro into what we might be talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bill, first of all, for the opportunity to share these concepts with you and your audience here today. And my name is Wally Waldron, and I'm the CEO and founder of Exitology. And what Exitology is it's a business growth model that allows you to position your company for a lucrative sale or to hand down your company as a legacy to perhaps your family or your business family, such as an ESOP or a management buyout type situation. Or perhaps you might want to create a passive income stream with the business you already own. Ultimately, our goal is to help hardworking business owners and founders to unlock their profits and unlock their potential so that they can buy back their time and freedom that they have well deserved.
Absolutely. And I think that this is a topic that a lot of entrepreneurs don't even think about because most people are either accidental entrepreneurs
Yeah.
or or they get into the company just thinking I want my free time. I want to just own something. I want to just be able to build this myself. And
Yep.
as an entrepreneur, we need to be thinking also to the point of when we either retire or decide to move on, what are we doing?
Yep.
Are we going to work until we die? Are we going to exit? What's the plan? So, to kind of kick us off, what I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to start with was what are some things that need to go through an entrepreneur's head when starting to conceive this
Mm-hmm.
whole possibility?
Well, in a funny way, you already mentioned it. And so you're a business coach, and I'm certain that you ask your clients the same question that we ask them, and that is, begin with the end in please begin with the end in mind, right? And where I say that you jokingly, you kind of touched on it, you're going to exit your business one way or the other. But will it be a willful, conscious exit, or will it sneak up on you? And yes, one day we will all die. So the ultimate exit is awaiting everyone. And now the question becomes, what do you want to do about that, right?
Yeah.
And there's a statistic out there that has held up very well, and it goes like this: every year we have a new year, that right, the clock turns over and January 1st happens. And over the next 5 years that are facing all of us as business owners or as entrepreneurs, you have an 80% chance of getting hit with one of the 5 Ds, which could be death, disability, divorce, disagreement, disruption. And all of these things, think about the last 5 years going backwards. Who hasn't been disrupted, right? Who
Yeah.
hasn't encountered some disagreement, right? And gosh forbid that you actually experienced death or near death or divorce or one of these types of things. And so it becomes imperative. You may not have known that stat 3 minutes ago, but now you do.
Mhm.
Okay, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah. And you're definitely right. And I think that preparation is something that is a reoccurring thing in a lot of the different videos we're talking about.
Yep.
We did some interviews with life planning attorneys.
Yeah.
I was talking with another one about retirement in general, as far as like IRAs and life insurance and things like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
you know, we as an entrepreneur don't have the benefit of a 9 to 5 job where they put all that in place for us. So we need to be able
Correct.
to think of this on our own terms. So now that we kind of wrapped our head a little bit about some of the things we need to think about, what are some
Hmm.
preparations we need to start making? What are some things we need to start getting ready in order for these things to come to fruition?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, let's zoom out, really high level for a second.
Mm,
Why would you want to build your business with the exit in mind, right? Just why?
yeah.
Well, here's why: is because if you build the business the right way, the exit will take care of itself.
Hmm.
And so a lot of the folks who are on this particular call and this particular track, you have what's called the entrepreneurial seizure, right? We've all heard about that. They talk about that in the E-Myth Revisited and all these types of things. And so the moment of clarity and the moment of impetus and creation where you go into being an entrepreneur, that passion can only take you so far. And as you go through the journey, you will have multiple times to reignite that passion, reconnect with your big why, and all of these things to get you to that final spot. But really, what we want to do is we want to build something that's greater than ourselves and really separate from ourselves. And that is to move beyond and just an entrepreneur who's doing everything and has, here's the middle of the universe like this, and the org chart looks like a bunch of other stuff swirling around this human being, right? Eventually we need to sort of flip it on its side and start to spiral upward into an evolved state towards some type of aim. And that's why it's important to begin with the end in mind. And so what I invite entrepreneurs to do oftentimes, if they've never even gone there and thought like, well, no, I'm going to build this business that has enterprise value, all these like buzzwords and stuff that seem very, very off in the future, I call a timeout and let's go this way instead. Let's build a passive income stream with the business you already own, right? And what did I really say there? I said, let's become a chairman someday, right? Let's become a chairperson. Let's own the business and own the value that's creating and own the machine, but let's move on with our life again, because at some point you will be sick and tired of your current business. And so it's going to be either, pivot your way out of that current business, or it's going to be build something that is creating value in the world, so you can step back onto whatever that next journey is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that some of the points I want to pull out of that I think really stood out to me was being able to identify the fact that we won't be in the same place for the next 60 years. That's one of the things that
Right.
entrepreneurs really like. And knowing that as one of the things we want to do, naturally, like you said, you're going to start progressing. So, like, you're by
Yes.
yourself and you have your first employees, get out to the chairman. So, all of that definitely resonates for me. And I think that, you know, as an entrepreneur, looking at those pieces, I think should get us excited. It should make us
Yes.
really want to dive into this because of the fact that we're now, bringing that structure that most entrepreneurs miss, uh,
Yeah.
but in a way that's exciting, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think of a story of a gentleman who visited me here in Colorado about 5 years ago, and he was your classic. He was going down the classic entrepreneur path. First, he was an employee, and
Hmm.
he felt trapped in his employment situation, and so then he chose to become his own person, his own whether you call it an entrepreneur, a founder. He was a self-employed individual. And so, for all intents and purposes, he was an owner operator of this business that he had. And what had he actually done? Well, he was still making decent money, but he was busier than he was before. And he had essentially trapped himself in another job. It was called self employment, it was called entrepreneurialism, but it was another job. And so we went through this process, and it included, we went and stood on top of mountains, and we went and, did all the Colorado things to start to crack him out of his shell a little bit. And then we brought all of this creative energy back, once we got separate from what he was doing, right? Kind of
Hmm.
pattern interrupt, and like let's really connect with nature. And we brought him back into the lab or the office, if you will. And it was amazing because we were able to then map out here's how you go from one chuck in a truck, so to speak, to $1 million business, to a $3 million business, to a $10 million business. And here's what that's going to look like over the next 5 to 10 years. And so he left Colorado, flew back to Florida where he was based out of. And it was amazing because he just, it's one of those, I don't want to say it's the secret or anything like that, but, his words exactly where we opened the portal because all of this new business started, flying out of thin air towards him. And it was really cool to see him reconnect and then upgrade. And now he's walking and working on that path.
Absolutely. And, being able to pull ourselves out of the rut, is, or in the main of the focus is
Hmm.
exactly what a lot of entrepreneurs need. So now that we kind of see the importance in planning ahead and we know
Yeah.
what we might be looking to plan ahead, and we kind of talked about what some of those action steps could be to start putting us in that right direction, what do we start seeing, like how do we know we're starting to hit those milestones? How do we know that we're coming up on that time, that plan that we put in, and what do we
Yeah.
start putting together to kind of wrap it all into a nice bow?
Yeah, totally. So there's a metric. So one of the things that entrepreneurs must remember and is always key is that the numbers don't lie, right? And there's how many leads are you bringing in, right? What's your close rate? How long are you keeping clients? All these types of things. But when it comes to your strategic aim of building a business that has worth, there's only one metric that matters, and it is called transferable value. Is my business more valuable and transferable than it was 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago? And this is a new concept to most business owners who I encounter. And so we talk about this at great length, and a lot of times I'll kind of shadow box a bit of a conversation that happens a lot in my world, and it goes like this: "Oh, totally, Wally. So that's EBITDA, right?" Or put differently, that's the cash flow that I'm flowing to the bottom line. And my answer is no, friend, pretty far from it, because the cash flow is just one indicator of how healthy the business is. But really, the name of the game, if your business is transferable, which is to mean that the owner is decentralized, which is to meaning that everybody in the business is de-risked and the business itself is de-risked, meaning that you don't have client concentration risk and a whole bunch of these other things that we go in and start to work on over a period of time. And importantly, is it on an upward trajectory of growth? Is there a believable growth story that somebody can acquire? So all of these things need to be in place, because then a buyer can look at it from all of those factors over here and prove it with a number and say, this cash flow that you're flowing to the bottom line, this cash flow stream that I'm purchasing as a result of purchasing your business has a multiple. You
Hmm.
feel me? So it's like, it's not just, say $5 million business that's kicking off, a few $100,000 to the bottom line over here, or, this $300,000 business that's kicking off $100,000 or whatever. It's what is the multiple on that cash flow,
Hmm.
right? And that's huge. That's the whole game.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of puts it in perspective for people as well, because I do know that a lot of people are like, I'm cash rich, or, I have this or that, but they never really look at the fact that, like, well, if you were gone, does it still work? And,
Right.
if the economy went this way, would it still be around? If if
Right.
this changed or if that changed, putting it up against the test to see where it truly is at, as opposed to
Hmm.
just I'm making money.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's definitely, thank you. That's very good insights into what to start to really put together that picture of, okay, I have
Hmm.
hit my milestones. I'm at where I need to be. I am ready for this next step of
Right.
selling or whatever it may be. So to kind of tie it all up in a nice little bow, what are
Hmm.
some of the exits that are out there for business owners? We touched on a few, but like let's put them all
Yeah,
together.
absolutely. Yeah. So for instance, if you're looking to do a straight financial transaction and just, as I call it, just pull the ripcord and bail out with a bunch of cash, then you want to position your company for a lucrative sale. And it's interesting going back to the concept of build a business the right way, and the exit tends to take care of itself, or will take care of itself. We were approached and worked with a manufacturing company here, just in northern Colorado. And it was really cool because I had discussed some of these concepts with the business owners like 10 years ago or something like this, right? And I get a phone call and it goes like this. It says, Wally, during COVID, we really buckled down. We doubled the capacity of this manufacturing facility. And right now, our business is somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 million in revenue. And we could easily see a path to just filling up this capacity to, at like probably 25, maybe even $30 million of revenue. What do you got for us? And so we went in, we took them through what we call our 8-figure growth blueprint, which think of it as the cornerstone for your grow to exit journey, right? And so we put in this cornerstone, which is to say that we put in their growth plan for the next 12 months, and we started to execute against it. And an interesting thing happened. We thought it was going to take about 12 to 18 months until they were going to see real traction and start to fill up all this capacity. Well, it happened that they started filling it up so fast that multiple private equity firms started calling them. And essentially, they had a bidding war. And this group here, in less than 6 months, went from going on this growth trajectory towards this next goal to selling out and cashing out on 12/31/2022, so right at the end of last year. And so they thought there was an 18 to 36 month path in front of them. It shrunk to less than 6 months. And these folks are in their 30s with a young family, so they're going to chill with the family for a couple of years and then go build another business. And I mean, what a cool life-changing story they have, you know?
Absolutely. So yeah, so selling is definitely one of the the options. What are some of the other
Yep.
ones that people can look
Yeah,
at?
totally. So another option is what we call the legacy exit. And there's a lot of different ways this could go. And ESOP. I'm based in Colorado, and so there's a lot of buzz around ESOPs right now in Colorado because the state of Colorado has actually set up $150,000 tax credit to pay for the facilitation of ESOPs in Colorado. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to keep good jobs in the backyard. And I mention that because if Colorado's doing it and it goes well, a lot of other states will follow in line and do the same thing, right? So there's ESOP, which actually is a very interesting concept if you start to look back into it. There's a gentleman who created it in the 50s, and I believe his last name's Kelso. I forget his first name off the top of my head, but he wrote something called the Capitalist Manifesto. Totally worth looking into at another time. So you have your first round of founders and investors, and then they essentially pass the business on to the employees, and folks who may have been making just wages and things of that nature now start to build real lasting wealth in that situation. Another one, legacy wise, might be family, right? So it might be management buyout, or kind of both and. And so you have your successor generation here, mom and dad, so to speak, start to tap out and step away. And then the successor generation buys them out over a period of time. And there's a lot of different versions of this, but call it a legacy exit, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so you're keeping it in the family, so to speak. Another one that we like to see is the one that we spoke of, especially for entrepreneurs, is the chairperson exit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Become a chairperson, stay involved in the business, but only show up, say, every quarter to give guidance to everyone else who's running the business that you've created, and then go
Mm-hmm.
start the other 5 businesses that you want to do, right? We call it's a parallel entrepreneur model. So I start this business, it starts kicking off cash flow stream. I take a piece of it, and now my wealth account goes like this. Okay, it's doing this, doing this, doing this, right? And then it jumps again every time that I do this. So now I have enough time and space to start this next project, do that for a few years, start the next project. And you can really get the most out of your entrepreneurial fire on this side, but also continue to create value in the world. And there's a whole bunch of other ones, but those are like 3 giant
Yeah.
buckets.
No, definitely. Thank you so much for diving into that. And
Sure.
we definitely, we definitely went through a lot of different pieces here. So,
Sure.
um, tell everybody how they could potentially get a hold of you or in contact with you if they wanted to talk more about exiting business.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a reader, what I would invite you to do is simply go to exitologybook.com, and you can download the first chapter of my book, Exitology. It's also available on all of your favorite internet platforms, things that rhyme with Amazon, and then that's if you like to read. If you're more of an audio learner, search for Exitology Podcast, and you'll find us out there. And we've done a number of interviews and a lot of in-depth discussion about different concepts of how to go about and do that. And then, of course, please find us at exitology.com. Click contact us, shoot us a note. And actually, if you ask us a question, we'll answer it in a future upcoming podcast for you. And we will also invite you to one of our learning sessions. We do regular executive briefings to talk through these concepts. And the biggest thing, Bill, and this, you and I are very aligned on this. The biggest thing is I just want the market to be educated. Maybe nobody that ever hears this is necessarily going to do business with us, but we're going to leave a positive ripple effect there where you, the business owner, end up creating the generational wealth and the lifestyle wealth that you deserve for all of your hard work. And so that's really what it's all about. I appreciate you having me here today.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. So, thanks again, everybody, for watching this great interview on how to exit your company. I hope that you all enjoy the networking event tonight, and we will see you all then. Again, I'm Bill Marshall, and this has been an interview with the 2023 Business Connection Virtual Summit. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.